This is your foundation. How to successfully grow your wedding business. Weddings Made Simple.
Well, congratulations, you've made it this far. So now we get to do the fun stuff. We get to start on the practical side of color grading with a lesson on how to read your image by understanding the video scopes. So if you've been around any number of image or video editing applications, you've seen these scopes before. In this video, I'll show you how to use them to understand your footage. Let's start with a brief overview of each. So I'll be here in DaVinci Resolve, but these scopes are all available in Final Cut Pro and Premiere. So let's jump in. So this is a vector scope. This is essentially a map of the saturation of each of your different hues along a color wheel. So you have yellow, red, magenta, blue, cyan, and green. It's really great for judging and gauging the overall saturation and the overall color bias of your image. As you can see here, this one is definitely leaning towards the yellowish greenish side because of all the grass. It's also great for skin tones. So what you can do is you can come in here and turn on your skin tone indicator. As you can see, it's in between red and yellow. This is the region of the universal skin color. Now, some skin leans in the yellow side, some skin leans on the red side, but overall, this is a great gauge to know when you're fixing your image for skin tones. So moving on, this is your waveform scope. We can look at it in terms of an overlay, an RGB overlay, or you can look at it in terms of the parade, which separates out the channels. This measures the brightness of each channel. So let's look at the waveform again, and let's just take a look at this image, and we can see pretty clearly right off the bat what's going on here. So we can see where our highlights and our grass are right about here, and that's lying about 70% on the scopes. We can see it's even colorized, which is helpful. So we can see where the sky is sitting. And this is a great tool for white balance. You'll see her dress here, and that'll be this area right in here. And we can see that the blues and the greens are a little lifted. If we want a more granular look at that, we can open up the parade. We can see where the blue is versus the green and versus the red. Now this is laid out left to right, just like your image. So your stuff on the left will be right here on the left. Here's the wall of the church building right here. Here is her dress. Here's the rest of the wall. Here is the grass down here. Hang tight, because we're going to get into actual color correcting with this later on. In addition to white balance, this tool is a great tool for helping you with your exposure. So for example, if your shadows are crushed, you're going to see that all the data is right here at 0, and you'll know you'll have to bring up your shadows a little bit. Same thing for the highlights. If they're clipping, all of your data is going to be up here at the 1000 mark, and you'll know that you'll have to bring that down a little bit. We'll jump into an example of this here in a second. Well, if you're in photography, you've probably seen the histogram before. What you can do, though, to kind of help you understand it is just think about it in terms of the parade just kind of on its side, rotated 90 degrees. This is also really helpful for just gauging overall the color bias in your image when you're editing for hours on end, it's 2 a.m. and you've kind of lost all track of where correct balance is. So the histogram is very common in acquisition. You'll actually find them on a lot of cameras on the LCD display so that you can gauge your color well.